Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with another banger this Wednesday evening, and we are here for part two of NBA iconic performance and so much more. But before we get to that, I know you used to seeing a normal face coming from South Bend, Bend Air, but we coming right in our own backyard today from the 614, and I'm here with one of the legends, one of the greats around town. He's known as the encyclopedia, the walking just book of knowledge, as I would say. It's so many names. We call him Jam, so many more. But it is great to have you this evening. And I bring you, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Jam, the walking encyclopedia. How are you doing this evening? It's great to have you as well.
Oh, I'm doing very, very well, JoJo. And let everybody know that reading is fundamental.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I totally agree. Totally agree. And we are here. We saying good evening to everyone tuning in, and we appreciate you joining us. Papa Whitmore is always in the building. We appreciate you joining this evening as well, and birthing that great man post game also. And before we get into things, having to my right, I don't know how you are watching this evening, but having this man Jam on here and some of the things that we've talked about in this series. It started with what's good, and then we're coming right back to what's good. But we started with part one last week, and we coming with part two this week. And we had the What If series, the Women's Wednesday series throughout that Women's Month, and Jam had a few of his what ifs that he wanted to bring. So I definitely want to get your what ifs out there. And again, say good evening to everyone that's tuning in. And also, we got blessings to you all, your families and loved ones from the homies here at WTP Sports Dudes as well. And what were those what ifs that you had, Jam, if you don't mind? We're going to get to those what ifs, and then we're going to jump right into some of these performances because I think some of the ones that I have this week are great. And I took it back in time with some of the performances that I had, and then I kept it present with a player and a performance that he had, and looking to see what he does tonight as well. One of the young greats, I think, that we are seeing in the NBA, and it's so many others that's spoken about. But when you're talking about a young great, he's knocked off so many superstars in the game we watched today. If you don't know, it's one of my guys, and I call him Ant Man. That's what they call him. I love the name. Speaking of Anthony Edwards, so we're gonna get back to him. But Jam, talk to us about those what ifs that you had as you were tuned in last week, and we appreciate that as well.
Well, I do appreciate it, and first of all, as we count down to Mother's Day, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there who work so hard raising their children. As Tupac would say, you are appreciated.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
uh, uh, one of the one of the what ifs that I posted on your show last week, JoJo, is what if Joel Embiid stayed healthy?
Wow.
Now, he showed up against Boston and turned out in game seven.
Yes, sir.
Uh, uh, and even though he was showing fatigue and stiffness, he still ended up with 36 points in a game seven. For his first career game seven in the Boston Garden, and I think the Sixers would have pulled it off that night, even if Jason Tatum was on the floor.
Man. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now,
I'm listening. Go ahead.
now, uh, tonight, Embiid is hurt, so he's not playing in tonight's game against the Knicks. It's one of those big what ifs. What if Joel Embiid stayed healthy? Because JoJo, everybody knows this. When when Joel Embiid's healthy, he's a beast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I think if Joel Embiid had played at least 70 games a season, the 76ers would have won at least a, 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 a couple of championships under Joel Embiid. Uh, you know, the Knicks. Uh, this is this is their opportunity to take advantage of the fact that they're he's not on the floor tonight. Joel Embiid. We'll see what happens. Uh, but I had to put that out there, and one of the biggest what ifs.
Nah, you hit right on point with that what if, because we had WTP Sports News, as you see, it seemed like this hand in hand went with the question at hand. You talk about what if, we talk about iconic performances, and we hear, it's game 2 tonight in the Garden, Philly at New York, and there's no Joel Embiid. So that what if, you talk about NBA iconic performance, and that brings us here to talk about Embiid. Let's do it. For me, I feel like, as post game said, better than Jokic, in my opinion. I felt the same way. I felt the same way due to the injuries that he had. Now, when you talking about an iconic performance, something that hasn't even really been talked about much, they were down 3-1, Jam, and
Yeah,
Embiid put on his backpack. He got his briefcase. He got that Louis bag, that Louis luggage, and put
yeah,
it all on him, and he was out there doing what he do. Now, I don't think people is giving him enough recognition due to the fact of what he did. That's a city of brotherly love. He put them brothers on his back. He put that city on the map. And I think when you speak of that, what if, I think you talking about the likes of Wilt, the likes of Kareem, the likes of Bill Russell, the likes of
yeah,
Shaquille O'Neal and
yeah,
Joel Embiid. People forget when he was in high school, what he did in high school. He's playing against the little guys, all these things that they said, but he came to Kansas, a blue blood, played 1 year and went to the NBA. You can't ask for more of a player like Joel Embiid. And when you think about the what if he could stay healthy, I think we looking at one of the most dominant big men in this era, along with Jokic, respectively, in this game of basketball. And I'm glad you brought that up. Anything else you want to say on that one?
Actually, uh, I do. I would love to see a healthy Joe Embiid in this series, because last time the Sixers played the Knicks, Joel
Mm.
Embiid scored 35 against the Knicks on one leg, and that's with Carl Anthony Towns on the floor, which would tell me he'll be traded at the end of this season. The Knicks going to bend over backwards to get Giannis.
I
But
agree.
uh, on that uh, on that note, I think this is the Knicks. First of all, the Knicks has no excuses. They don't have to face Jason Tatum. They don't have to face Tyrese Halliburton. Uh, uh, you, we know they can beat Cleveland. Uh, whether or not they can beat the Pistons, who actually had their number this regular season, you know that remains to be seen. But I'm gonna. This ain't a prediction. This is a guarantee. If the Knicks don't make it to the NBA Finals, Mike Brown is out of a job.
Ooh, big talks. I agree with you on that one as well. I think when you speak on the Knicks and what they've done to build around Brunson, Cat, bringing him over in that blockbuster trade at the time, I think, we looking at 2 games tonight to where, coaches' jobs can be in jeopardy when it pertains to these series. And we going to get to those Minnesota Timberwolves. But as you talking about the Knicks, this is iconic. This is NBA playoffs we talking about. We can't talk about New York and be talking about iconic NBA playoffs. And I know you might have been up. I know you might have been watching this game, Jam. This is one game, one player who for me, and Willis Reed, I thought was one of the most iconic performances. When we speak on big men that we have been to start, the iconic one-legged coming out, setting the tone for New York, leading them to their first NBA championship. What's your
Uh,
thoughts on that performance from Willis Reed? What could you tell me a little more about that one?
well, uh, I remember that game well. At the time, ABC was the network that aired the NBA Finals.
Yes, sir.
Uh, and in them days, when the NBA Finals was on a Saturday and Sunday, it was a day game. It was not a night game in them days. But Willis Reed hit uh, those first two shots of the game, and uh, those are the only points he needed because the Knicks was hyped on that day. Wilt Chamberlain showed a little bit of aging at
Hmm.
that time.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Jerry West was still Jerry West. Elgin Baylor. Uh, they, but the Knicks was just unstoppable uh, that day. Uh, it was Game 7, and I mean kudos to the Knicks and Willis Reed on that day.
Yes, sir. For me, it was exactly what you said and more. When you say a player could come out and defeat a team, when he walked out of that locker room, not to mention, like you said, being a game 7, one of the most back and forth series that if you really think about it during them times, everything that was going on, being in a Big Apple, you talking about New York City, you talking about this championship not just changed the franchise, but it changed the city, and that's at that moment which really made it the Big Apple, the big city bright lights. When you think of that, you think of Willis Reed, and he demoralized with those first few buckets. You talking about a 50-point performance and a 4-point performance that can literally take a team's momentum, franchise, the energy, suck the air out the building. And that's what he did. And, for him to hobble out and do what he did, and like you said, it was at a time where Chamberlain was aging, for him to stand stout and go through that injury just to be the man and be that stout and get out on the court and perform that way. I think that momentum, of course, carried the Knicks throughout that game. I think it was a special feat for me to watch, for the times that I've watched it and even overlooking it just over the past few years and today again as I did. And, for the Garden, there's many iconic moments. And, I'm going to go a few decades ahead, and I'm going to go to the 1999 New York Madison Square Garden, the LJ game, the 4-point play, where Allen Houston, the Spreewell, was the first two options. Larry Johnson being the third, fourth, not even an option. But Marcus Camby said, "You are the option," knowing the circumstances, situations, what Larry Johnson went through in his career. Being from it goes all the way back to UNLV days, being undefeated. Coming in, Grandma Ma, being this gold tooth, different type of specimen that changed things when he came into the league. I really enjoy watching Larry play. Something special. Grandma Ma was something, and to this iconic performance. What's your thoughts on the game? How it changed then? Because for me, it was the biggest
Well,
thing since Patrick Ewing.
it changed. It definitely changed Larry Johnson because he was considered a bust in Charlotte, and for him to hit that that game tying uh, three 3-point shot that turned into a 4-point play to put the Knicks ahead. It was very iconic, when people mention Larry Johnson and the Running Rebels, JoJo, uh, here's a note that always gets left out of UNLV winning the national championship. UNLV is the only school in NCAA history ever to put up 100 points in the NCAA championship game.
Mm.
When they scored 103 over Duke, they won in 1990, 103 to 73.
Yep.
Uh, so
Watching the highlights of that game was insane. To
yeah,
see, that type of team going against a Coach K, running up and down the floor. You seeing the Duke, you used to seeing the Duke team do the things
yeah.
that was getting done to them. And, for me, I was blown away. Like you said, the 100 points in a tournament game, against the Duke team and, reviving his career. I think that was the biggest thing because, at that point, people were wondering why did we get this trade? What did we bring him over to New York for? And I think, that solidified what he was, in the league for. A lot of people, get it, I would say, get it misconstrued. You may be this top player in high school or even college. You may get to the NBA. I don't look at it as always a bust. Some people might not be ready for that prime time light, and it might just be you were at that elite level then, and you kind of, slowed down. It's always not, to me, just being a bust. I think when you speak of a bust, you really got to say from day one when you think of being a prominent player from high school to college and you get to that level and you're not doing anything that goes to question your love for the game at that point. I would say that's just
Well,
my opinion.
Larry Johnson, for the record, he definitely was no Kwame Brown, but 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 in terms of the reason why Larry Johnson was labeled a bust,
Hmm.
because when he signed with Charlotte, he did something that's rare for professional athletes in all sports. He signed a 10-year deal with Charlotte.
Yeah,
If you sign a 10-year deal and you don't play all 10 seasons with that team, that is considered a bust.
yeah,
Not unless you get an NBA a championship, and uh, even in his uh, Charlotte, they 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 were a good team with him and Lonzo Mourning and uh, Muggsy Bogues, but I wouldn't consider them a great team, considering that they was always getting swept by Jordan. Uh, uh, the Hornets and Knicks getting into uh, fist fights and
yeah.
all that type of stuff. I feel that they didn't play a a lot of smart basketball. And as good of a player Muggsy Bugs was, he was no a match to Jordan by any means. Jordan embarrassed him, uh, and speaking of Jordan, he beats Willis Reed, I think, in what you call the iconic overcome something. Because in Game 6 of the Utah Jazz, he had a temperature of over 100.
Yeah,
He had the flu and still win the game winning shot. So, but getting back to to Grandmama and all that, Larry Johnson, he was a decent player, and yes, uh he took advantage. Uh, I think the Knicks really could have beat the Spurs if Patrick Ewing was on the floor, which led to my other what if Wednesday last week. What if both Patrick Ewing and Bernard King was healthy at the same time. Because when in the 2 years they were teammates, they never played together on the court. In the 1985-86 season, Ewing's rookie season, he dealt with injuries, and Bernard King actually missed the rest of the season, missed the whole season. And then Ewing's second season, he got hurt again. But by the time Ewing got hurt again, we finally saw Bernard King on the floor one last time in a Knicks uniform before being traded to the then Washington Bullets.
Yep. And when you speak on that, in the 80s, because if you think about that, at that time, Magic and Kareem became the 1-2 punch, that big man punch. We was not blessed to see a King to Ewing, Patrick to Bernard, Bernard to Patrick. I mean, it's so many combinations you could put together. You talking about a Shaq and Kobe, rest in peace type. You think of these type of things when you think of Bernard King and you think of Patrick Ewing, two players that had changed that franchise and when they came in and what they were brought in to do, but just we wasn't able to see the greatness together on the floor at the same time. People just, don't understand what and how far the game of basketball has come, when you talk about the likes of a Ewing and Bernard King. If you don't know who they are, trust me, go watch the footage. Talking about two specimens and that work great in their craft. Patrick Ewing, a big man, I think people forget about, who played at Georgetown with Mutombo, Mourney. You talking about Thompson, legendary coach. When they went to get that kid from when he was in high school in another country. All these different things people don't know to you. Mutombo, I mean, but the history, even when they went to get Ewing as well, seeing him and what he brought to, Georgetown and coming to New York. So it's just so many different things that I think people fail to realize until you go do, a little bit of knowledge and maybe look at a few games so that you can see the difference in how it was played then, how it's played now, and the effect that they could have in even today's game. Anything else on Bernard and Ewing?
Actually, yeah. But man, you want to talk about the biggest what ifs? I felt if both Bernard and Ewing was healthy, they would
Gotta
have
wear a shade.
they would have defeated both the Bulls and the Pistons.
Mhm.
Back in the back in the 1980s.
Mhm.
You I mean, we but again, it's sad that injuries can always hurt a person's career, and like for instance, in 1999,
Mhm.
when Sprewell and Larry Johnson took the Knicks to the finals, Ewing didn't play in the finals
Yeah.
against the Spurs, so because he was hurt. We both know that a healthy Patrick Ewing would have definitely gave David Robinson and Tim Duncan pure hell.
Agree. Now, for me, when, just thinking about some of the performance I thought about today, I had a couple with Philly, questions when it came to Joel Embiid. I threw Larry Johnson out there, and I'm glad those what ifs. So that was another reason that I slid, New York in with a couple of those. Now I'm gonna take you back to the bubble days, just a few years back, COVID bubble, whatever you call it. But that man that's not playing in the playoffs right now, Luka versus the Clippers, 2020, 43 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists, triple dub, as we call it, in a game winning step back in iconic fashion. What's your thoughts on Luka Doncic in this blazing performance? 17 rebounds blew my mind, but some of those were coast to coast on part of that 43, even catching a rebound and dropping off an assist on the way to that 43. But the step back, Bobby Jack for the winner was what got my attention and put him right at that 43 threshold for the evening. What's your thoughts on this and Luca himself?
Well, Luka Doncic, he did pull up a great performance. Uh, but I wish he were doing this right now with my Lakers. And personally, I think his hamstring injury and him missing the playoffs showed why the Dallas Mavericks traded him. Uh, uh, you, the NBA is impatient now. They want to win right now. If you're in your 20s and constantly being injured where you miss the playoffs, they going to get rid of you. Case in point, the Knicks they send what's his name to the Timberwolves.
The Vincenzo?
Huh?
The Vincenzo? The Vince?
The guy that played at Kentucky. He was with he started off with my Lakers, then traded to the Knicks.
Okay.
But he plays for the Timberwolves now. Anyway, he played with the Knicks, but when his injuries missed 2 straight playoffs, the Knicks traded him to the Timberwolves.
Julius Randle.
Oh, yes, Julius Randle. That's but getting back to Luka, he had a great playoff performance, supporting cast. You want to talk about another what if? I mean, what if Kyrie had been able to?
We're gonna stay on the iconic performance, Joe. I'm gonna say,
I'm gonna
say the what if for him.
But that may be Luka's first ever iconic performance, but I guarantee you it won't be his last.
I agree.
He's going to have more.
Yeah, definitely. I think I just wish we could see him right now in a series, especially like this one. Definitely, I feel the same way you feel playing against the OKC team. I think seeing him and LeBron on the same court right now, I think that would be iconic in itself, knowing the possibilities of the performances that they could display. That would definitely be special.
Yeah. That definitely would be special. Unfortunately, but because of Luka's injury, LeBron doesn't want to, but he's forced to be the first option.
Guaranteed.
Scoring option. Yes, we know he's still great at 41. I strongly advise Luka Doncic to work with the same personal trainer that LeBron has.
Working with. Yes, exactly. I agree. And then for me, ladies and gentlemen, we got Jam. And when I say Jam got so many what ifs, Jam, we're going to double back. And I'm going to text you once this weekend is up, and we're going to bring that back because I know we could go on and on about what if. And I'm going to come to you because I think we could put something together special to bring them the greatest what if show. I think that'll put us, we'll be at part 6 on the what if. So I definitely will be messaging you, once we finish this show throughout the rest of the weekend, so we could put that together because I would love to have you featured on that what if when I do that next edition, because I'm going to just throw some players out there, and I know you already have that what if, and we gonna go back and forth and get a people something different on the cook up, featuring like a conversation with Mossberg. It's gonna be with Jimmy Jam on the what if part 6. It's gonna be something special, and I think it's only right to have it because of what your knowledge brings and the different things that we really hit on base with in our mindset as well.
For sure.
And one of the guys I think, for me, I've watched him change the game. I'm sure you know who this young man is. And when he went to the Celtics, went against the Celtics on the way to a fourth ring, people forget about the performance that he displayed. I'm talking about Steph Curry, 43 points, just like Luka, not the triple double, but on his en route to a fourth ring, game 4 against the Celtics. 43 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. And we know the way he shoots is like a sniper. He unloaded a cannon, but he was moving around, not just the perimeter, but getting to the bucket, laying the ball up, shooting the floater. Steph Curry's changed the game, and we're here talking about an iconic performance from about 4 years ago. What's your thoughts on this one, Jam?
Well, first of all, I did see that game where Steph Curry scored 43 points. As Stephen A. Smith said, uh, Steph Curry is the greatest shooter ever.
Yes.
The greatest shooter ever. And, in fact, Steph Curry shoots so great. The execs of the NBA is already talking about getting rid of the 3-point line.
It's crazy work, man. When you
Yeah.
shoot that good to make it go back to where it all began, man. It's crazy work.
Yeah. So, but relax, fans. They ain't getting rid of the 3-point shot.
Nah.
It's gotten too, big. I remember when the 3-point line made his NBA debut back in 1979, and it's grew. I also remember when the 3-point line first started, JoJo, the only center in the NBA that was shooting threes at the time was former Seattle Supersonics great Jack Sikma.
Ooh. Wow. That take us back, man. That take us back.
Yeah, so people definitely remembers Jack Sikma in 20 seasons in the NBA. Kareem shot a 3-pointer only one time, and it went in.
And now everybody's shooting the 3 from the size of, if you 7 feet, it's normal to see you shoot a 3, which is crazy nowadays. And even when I play on a video game, it's like, you got 6'11" and 7-footers shooting 3. So it kind of it's something, man. It's a special thing, man. Watching Steph Curry.
Yeah. Steph Curry, he's the greatest shooter of all time. He's a shoe-in for the Hall of Fame. And it's always special when you win NBA Finals MVP against the Boston Celtics, with both Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yes,
it's sad. I wish Jason Tatum would have played Game 7, but I don't think that would have made a difference. But getting back to Stephen Curry, him and Klay Thompson, yes, the Splash Brothers, and yes, Klay Thompson's a big name too, people.
Mm-hmm.
I just want y'all to know.
Yes, indeed.
Klay, for all the talk about no one knew who Klay Thompson was before making the stallion, let me tell y'all that's a lie. We all know who Klay Thompson was. I'm one of the people, JoJo, who remembers his father, Michael Thompson,
Mm-hmm.
the All American with the Golden Gophers. Started his career off in Portland, and then won back-to-back titles with Magic Johnson and the Lakers. So
Yeah.
I definitely we all know who 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 Klay Thompson was. Him and Steph Curry they complemented each other, and I think if it wasn't for the injuries of Klay Thompson, that he still be in the Golden State uniform, splashing with his brother Steph.
Yeah, I agree. And for this one, I kept a few of them in here light because with your what ifs, I agree. I appreciate you having those in, and I'm a bring this last one in, and when I speak on this player, this is one of I like this kid, man, this young guy, this young future Hall of Famer. Like I like Michael Jordan, Jam, and that's a lot when you speaking the likes of the goat. You know,
Yeah,
this is my guy, man, Anthony Edwards. His 2023 performance against Denver, 41 points, 6 tray balls. We call them tray balls, threes, 3-pointers, 3-point field goals, 4 assists, 3 blocks. And I think, this was a coming out party for Anthony Edwards, if you ask me. Talking about a young man that's faced so much, when it comes to the outside, of what he does, compared to what he does on the court. We talking about the basketball and we got to respect what this man does on the court. I'm thinking this is probably the greatest, the closest that we're going to see to a Kobe, to a Michael Jordan. When you talking about having that killer instinct of wanting to get that game, wanting to win the game, going out there, putting it on the floor. I mean, I see shades of when Michael Jordan used to go to the bucket and dunk on bigs when I watch Anthony Edwards play his game. I love watching Ant-Man do what he do. What's your thoughts on Anthony Edwards, not in just this performance, but overall? And I'm going to come back with another question that WTP Sports Dudes have for us for this one as well when it comes to Anthony Edwards.
yes. First of all, Anthony Edwards, his performance that night was iconic, and in fact, Anthony Edwards is such a great player that he's now the first Anthony Edwards to now be a bigger name than the other Anthony Edwards who we know him better from Revenge of the Nerds and ER. I mean, that's how that great Anthony Edwards is. I think he will bring a title to Minnesota. Now, here's what's interesting about the Timberwolves. If the Timberwolves make it to the NBA Finals, it will be a big benefit in the city of Columbus, Ohio, so to speak, JoJo.
Ooh.
Yes, because if the Timberwolves make it to the NBA Finals, it will be the first time since Chris Gent back in 1995 with the Rockets that a former OSU Buckeye will play in the NBA Finals.
Wow.
And keep in mind the Timberwolves do have former Buckeye one and done great Mike Conley.
Yeah. That is why we call Jam the walking encyclopedia, ladies and gentlemen. That's knowledge to me. And that speaks a lot of volumes. And just think of how many greats we've seen at the Ohio State University. When it comes to the basketball and to not get to that NBA Finals, you're talking about Michael Redd,
Yeah,
I mean, you talking about so many great players during that
yeah,
time, and to know that it's the pinnacle of the NBA. Reaching that NBA Finals, that just goes to show you, the work some of these players put in. And as we speak on Anthony Edwards, you know, when you speak on a guy so young in his career, it's only right to mention Anthony Edwards' greatness. Why not? Because a question is going to come and loom. What if Minnesota wins? How much more talk is on his greatness? You know, for me, I think you got to put more than enough respect, more than a little bit. You got to double it. You got to flip it. You got to hand him his flowers. You got to go sit in the press box and watch the playoff game in the Western Conference Finals if they get this. I mean, there's so many things that when you speak on Anthony Edwards and you talk about basketball, he's went
yeah,
against Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, LeBron, and Luca. All of these big time names, you talk of GOAT status or at a higher pinnacle where they're at in their career. He's knocked them off. And I think this is the only thing that he needs to do right now. If he could take out San Antonio and win Benyama, I think this is big for his career and this catapults him to greatness even sooner. What's your thoughts?
well, well, not only will it be big on on Anthony Edwards, uh, and here's a key, a real key to any team winning a national championship to to or in this case win the NBA finals.
Hmm.
Uh, we know players, we know the superstars are going to step up, but the question is who can do the unusual?
Yep.
Like like can Rudy Gobert average a double double? Man, if he can, if he can score 20 points and 20 rebounds, man, Minnesota has it on lock because we know what
Yeah,
Anthony Edwards is going to do.
I
Uh,
agree.
uh, uh, the the other part about uh, uh, the Timberwolves, uh, you know, I just don't think they have an answer for Oklahoma City.
Mm,
Uh, Shea Gilgis Alexander, he's a beast. And keep in mind, the Thunder swept my Lakers during the regular season.
yeah,
But we'll see what the mighty Timberwolves can uh, do.
yeah,
Uh, you uh, as far as them, San Antonio. Now they did win Game One, despite the fact that Wembyana had a had a 12 block triple double.
yeah.
Uh, 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 I think the Spurs are the future, but they ain't ready yet.
Mm,
Uh, they got to be able to win the close games, and that's the advantage Anthony Edwards has over everybody else. Uh,
yeah.
yes, he's great, but with less than 10 seconds on the clock, I would definitely have the ball in Ant Man's hands.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. And when you think of Anthony Edwards, 47 career playoff games. It'll be 48, as they play tonight. 26 points per game, 6.6 rebounds per game, 5.2 assists per game. Those are stats that Mike was putting up in his young career. This is the Mike that didn't get to the finals, ladies and gentlemen, that everybody talk about. Yes, I remember that Mike, but when he get to the finals, he don't lose. Now, as we carry on about Anthony Edwards' greatness, I had to get that in there because a lot of people don't understand when you average in these type of numbers in your early career in the playoffs how iconic that is. Not to mention Game 2 is when Anthony Edwards puts on that cape and does things that only Superman do, Batman. He got his Robin as he did last game, and Conley as you spoke on. And with you bringing that history too, I think anything is possible. I think it's only right. I think this Minnesota, if you ask me right now, which team out of the teams left, because after the first few games, I didn't feel Houston had anything for LA. But as I've been watching these playoffs, this is a scary Minnesota team. You just don't know what you're going to get. And if you got Anthony Edwards, you got a McDaniels, you got a Mike Conley, that's a three-headed monster with a defender down low that could really be stout. Like you said, 2020, anything's possible in these NBA playoffs as we sit here talking about iconic performances. So it's very possible.
But I also think the key, and I'm afraid this is going to hurt the Timberwolves, JoJo. Julius Randle.
Mm-hmm.
If he lives and dies by the three, Timberwolves ain't got a shot. But if Julius Randle, if he could grab rebounds and score in the paint, that would be a bigger help to Anthony Edwards as to him constantly shooting threes, because he definitely misses threes more than he makes them.
I agree.
I don't like it when teams live and die by the three. That's how that's why the Boston Celtics are eliminated now. They didn't hit their threes. I also think that when I get it. People shoot too many threes, but I believe you still gotta score in the paint. I'm not saying Rudy Gobert has to have a 30-point night, but he has at least 3 or 4 alley-oop dunks.
Yeah, I agree. Totally
which he's capable of doing. Now, Gobert, he will grab. He is the type of player that will grab 15, 20 rebounds on any given night, which is also a major help for the Ant-Man.
I agree. And just thinking about, as we speaking on these games, I had the sheet down. You got the Knicks up 1-0 in this series right now, and they got game 2 that's currently going on right now. That started that third quarter. Third quarter is kind of moving. Then you got that game 2 with Minnesota and San Antonio tonight. Who's your pick in this New York versus Philly matchup, game 2 tonight?
I think the Knicks can pull it off, but it would be a major upset if Philly wins tonight without Joel Embiid. And as far as game 2 in San Antonio, for some strange reason, I think the Spurs can pull it off if it's a 10-point lead or more. If it's a real close game, I see Ant-Man pulling it off, and if Minnesota wins 2-0, whoever's up 2 games to zip will win the series and all the playoffs series in this second round.
Ooh, I like that. I like that outlook. I'm gonna make sure I put that down in my notes. I'm not gonna forget that one. For me, I'm going Philly in the Garden, because it's the playoffs, right, Jam? You always got to look for that iconic. You got to look for that iconic Madison Square Garden performance. Paul George just had a birthday last week, correct?
Yeah,
Paul George is looking nice and healthy, right?
yeah.
And we waiting on that Paul George playoff Madison Square Garden performance. Am I lying?
No, and right now he's after 3 quarters, he's already at 19 points.
Shh, Jam, I ain't even watching it. I'm just speaking it too. I'm
Well,
taking Philly for game two
uh,
in this big series, and I'm gonna pick Pete George for a big game. I haven't even looked at the game. I haven't even seen it. Philly was my
oh,
pick
okay.
because I feel like this Philly team, with or without Embiid, they could be strong. And I think Embiid, Philly get this win. I think he takes his time getting healthy. And this Philly team, we seeing things happen, just as we have been seeing with Detroit. That's just my thoughts on this game right here.
Um, you know, I can't agree with you on there, JoJo. I mean, uh, Philly's a great team. Paul George, Tyrese Maxey,
Yeah.
uh, uh, Edgecombe.
That's called VJ, my guy,
Yeah,
man. Young bull,
yeah,
man.
yeah. And so they're they're great. But I think what's going to hurt the 76ers
Hmm.
is when they get back to game 3 and 4 in Philly. Now, and I say this, um, Philadelphia is actually a home game for Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
Remember, he's a 2-time NCAA champion at
Villanova.
Villanova.
Yeah.
So I mean, uh, it's uh, when you're a great player and you feel comfortable uh, in a house that used to be called your house,
Yeah.
uh, you get extra motivated. It reminds me when when Coach Prime went to the Georgia Dome as a 49er and had that pick six, and in the interview he said, "This is my house.
Yeah.
I built this house." That's J, J, I think Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges, who also played at Villanova.
Yes, sir.
I think they'll be extra motivated playing in their own home arena in where they was at Villanova.
Cool. I like that. I'm still taking Philly. And I totally agree. And only thing I could think is that too much added with the playoffs. We know what you built. We know the house you built. Could that be added pressure at this point in the playoffs, knowing the things that could happen with the coaching changes as well? But we'll save some of that for next week. I'm gonna give them my opinion though for this big game too, down in Texas, San Antonio. I love some people down in Texas. Got a couple people on the podcast team that we network and talk to, but I'm taking Anthony Edwards. He's one of my guys. He performs in game two. I think he'll come out and have a 30 burger. Game two in San Antonio,
I'm
Minnesota.
I'm 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 going to take uh, Anthony Edwards as well. Uh, uh, and and but here's what's also going to work in Minnesota's favor. Uh, you want to make Rudy Gobert play defense,
Yeah.
and if Wimbiana is out on the behind the 3 point line, that's an actual win for Rudy Gobert.
Hmm.
Uh, Bear, because any missed shot, Gobert's going to get that rebound.
Yep. Yep. And for this matchup, it's just good to see. It's like the teacher. It's like the mentor watching his student. Play the game that they both love, And it kind of took me into some things of myself, like being out here and wanting to get back into it, playing and seeing if I come across a couple players that I taught the game to, which it's a few that I have, and I can't wait to see them and get back
Yeah.
out there on the court. As I'm letting some people know, if you tuned in, Mossberg will be back playing this summer. Man, don't go crazy and invite me to teams, but I'm definitely going to be back playing in the summer league. But outside of that, man, I just think that this Minnesota team is just as scary as any other team in the West. You have a player like Anthony Edwards. I think right now, this is his playoff to perform and to prove a lot of people wrong. And everybody's questioning certain things in his lifestyle or whatever, man. I'm not the person that get into that. People change, you grow. We don't know anybody's story until we sit down with them and have that type of conversation, have those stories, get that one-on-one. So me, man, I'm always going to be a fan from here on out, man. I've been a fan from your Georgia days, from since I seen you your first dunk in high school, which was epic, iconic, which brings us to talk about your iconic status to this evening. And I hope you leave me with the iconic performance in another game too this evening down in Texas, going against those San Antonio Spurs. Anything you got to say, Jam, before we get out of here this evening for the people? And from me to you, man, I just greatly appreciate you being here this evening and joining me for another episode and bringing your what if thoughts in as well.
Well, yeah, to my Lakers, can you win at least one game against the Oklahoma City Thunder? And if LeBron signs with the Lakers after becoming a free agent, please give Bronny more minutes. If you wanted the team to draft your own son to play with you, then he should play a good 25, 30 minutes if you think your son's that damn great.
Yeah. I agree, man. I appreciate that, man. For me, man, just I know I told people I had the conversation with Mr. Von Zell coming, former champ on a boxing scene. But for me, I am working on getting that right interview as far as in the way I want to come at you with it, the angles. I don't want to bring you an interview that's not worth bringing you when it comes to the standards of what I'm bringing you, whether it's that the way I want to move in the camera and everything I'm doing. I just want to bring you the best interview that we can bring you when it comes to that, because I don't want to let him down in the iconic status, the legendary status that he has. And, seeing him every day that I've seen him, and I'm talking about Mr. Vonzel Johnson, is just, a great thing. We never know who we come across, in our daily life, man. But it's just a great thing when I see him. Go ahead.
Vonzel Johnson, he is a great brother. We're me and him are tight. He even saw my national TV debut 10 years ago when I was on a daytime talk show. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I would love to be in the studio with you and Vonzel Johnson.
Yes, sir. We gonna get that set up. I've been speaking to him throughout the week. Every week I speak to him to let him know I just want to make sure that I'm not letting him down. And when I bring him to the people, because for me that's something special. Growing up and watching what he do, and to see him still training some of the greatest fighters in the world is special. I remember when he asked me if I wanted to step in the ring and be a fighter. At the time I was so indulged in basketball, and that's something still that tickles me and my hairs jump on the back of my neck, because I think that I should still to this day have went and been a boxer, man. Growing up in the Windsor Terrace of what we do, I never stopped thinking about that when he asked me about that. But it's only so much more to come when it comes to that. I could ramble all day, but for me, man, from meet of the people, man. I greatly appreciate everyone that's tuned in this evening. Everyone that's been rocking with your boy Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10, man, from day one. We got some special things coming tomorrow. We got your man post game. He gonna be bending air from South Bend in the Midwest, straight from Indiana, and we don't want to tell you what he's bringing. You just make sure you got your notifications on, make sure they ringing, so when that bell comes, it's going to chime to your phone, your notifications, and you'll know what we talking about tomorrow evening. And I will be appearing for some special talks for him tomorrow evening as well, and to bring you something that you don't know, the people don't know. It's something special, something legendary, and it's just glad to have him a part of the team as we, come up into, this thing that I'll speak on tomorrow as well. But outside of that, man, me, myself personally, I just greatly appreciate, like I said, everybody that's been tuning in the beginning of what's to come from Mossberg here at Level Up Sports. And if it's you out there, if you're an athlete, if you're a parent that has an athlete, if you're watching this and if you're tuning in, you might be part of Houday Nation, you might be a part of Florida State Nation, whatever nation you're a part of. Holla at your boy Mossberg. We can get a conversation. We could talk about your team. We could bring you in for that interview as well. And as we got Jam in the building, we appreciate you this evening with all that great almanac, encyclopedia, the history, even indulge into those what if questions. And we're going to be bringing part 6 to you next month as well. And we're going to title that all up and try to get it in a certain way also. But other than that, man, as we always do for the people, we tell them, we hit them with the peace sign, because we out of here this evening, and we appreciate y'all joining, and I appreciate you again as well, Mr. Jam.
All right. Thank you very much.
We out, man. Have a good evening.